Hey guys, as many of you already know, on Saturday, January the 27th, two NYPD police officers were attacked in Times Square by migrants or people seeking asylum. Now, this story has enraged most of the U.S. citizenry for the last week. And in this report, we're going to take a look and see what the update is for these migrants.
We begin with new details in the attack on two NYPD officers in Times Square. Another suspect arraigned overnight as police continue to search for 8 more suspects in that attack.
But we're also learning from police that 4 of the suspects who were arrested and released without bail despite being charged with felonies boarded a bus and left New York City.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo live in Midtown with the latest. Anthony.
Okay, before Anthony fills us in, let me get this straight. You arrested them, they were booked and charged, and then they were released to do what? To go where? They have no home at this point. The citizens of New York are taking care of them. So why would we release them? Whether they're in the shelter or in Rikers Island, I don't see the difference if you were attacking 2 police officers. But let's go. Let's see what happened.
Anthony.
Laura and Liz, Governor Hochul is expected to meet with district attorneys here at a conference in Midtown today. The Manhattan DA in particular facing mounting criticism from the New York City Police Department, the mayor's office, and Governor Hochul, who says changes to bail laws in general have been working with a decrease in repeat offenders, but calling this situation abhorrent. And this here is a look at the only accused cop attacker so far to have bail set at $15,000. Yohenry Brito was arraigned yesterday. Police say he's the man who resisted arrest there in the yellow jacket wrestling with cops. What sparked the rest of the melee near Times Square last weekend. 5 other suspects were charged and then released without bail. Authorities believe the first 4 men arrested left town on a bus heading to Calexico.
Hold on. Okay. This footage is horrendous. Let me get this straight. Okay. The one who resisted arrest, he's in jail. Okay, great. The governor wanted to speak to the district attorney after they released the subject. See, this is the kind of thing that really agitates me. Because it shows that until people became enraged, until this footage was all over the internet, until everyone in America and the world had seen this disgrace, they were doing business as usual. The district attorney, I believe his name was Alvin Bragg, and Governor Hochul, they were on business as usual. And their business as usual was releasing violent, undocumented, whatever, illegal migrants into our nation, releasing them back into the general population for them to continue their mayhem. So they were on business as usual. But then the backlash became too much, and they decided, let me meet with him and see if we can not release them. Well, you should have did that in the beginning. And I don't know what kind of attorney or what kind of judge would even let them go. At some point in the legal system, we have to protect the citizens. If you can't protect the police, how do you think I'm going to think you can protect me? How do you think I'm going to think you can protect my family? And this fight is ridiculous, okay? This is the most ridiculous thing I ever seen. They didn't punch them in the head, kick them in the head. Not one gun was drawn. Not one. And I understand why not, because they were trying to make sure not to lose the person they had. But I believe a gun should have been drawn and placed against someone's back or head. Because you're not going to kick me in my head. So the only thing this is a big ad. Go buy a gun because the police cannot protect themselves. Let's go for it.
Border town in California, and because they were released on their own recognizance, the NYPD says they cannot legally be stopped. Police have identified 14 suspects, still looking for 8 of them. Investigators believe the group was in Times Square for pickpocketing and other criminal mischief. And NYPD.
Of course, they were in Times Square for pickpocketing. Of course, that's what they were there for. They weren't there for sightseeing or enjoying the sights or any of that stuff. And they behaved like a violent gang. So it's time for us to dismiss this idea that angels are coming across the border illegally, and all we need to do is fill in, help feed them, clothe them, get them started, get them work permits. Do you believe work permits are going to keep these kids from being criminals? Because if you do, I would say, why don't you go on over to Chicago and give out some work permits? Okay? People of low morality tend to keep low morality. This doesn't change. This has nothing to do with being poor, being hungry, needing something. They don't appear to need anything. They have the strength, they've been fed, they are clothed, they're doing their crime, they're doing what they do, and they're attacking police officers. That's the same thing they're going to do if you allow them to stay in this country. It's ridiculous.
NYPD lieutenant was trying to break the group up when he and an officer were kicked and punched. Police say most, if not all, of the suspects were living in city-run shelters for migrants. A majority of the suspects have arrest histories. Governor Hochul this week echoing the New York City Police Department's disappointment in the court system.
Okay, number one, I don't care about the governor's disappointment in the court system because it's fake. Okay? That's fake. I hate it when people who have power choose to be victims. You're not a victim of the court system. You can effectuate change. You are the governor. So you being disappointed in the judge or disappointed in this or this, that's nothing. You have the power to effectuate change in New York. You're either going to do that or you're not going to do that. And so this fake upsetness or fakeness of it all, just let it be. Now let's go back to the second thing. Many of them stay in the shelter system. No más. No más, amigo. No más. Right? No more. All right? No more. If you commit a crime, if you are arrested, if you are convicted of a crime, you need to be kicked out of the shelter system. You need to be deported if it's a certain type of crime. You mean to tell me the people of New York are paying for their own victimization? Huh? The people of New York are paying for their own victimization? Stop it. Stop it. Right? So we need some change, some actual change. And that change should be, if you commit crime, you will not be staying on the people's dime. Commit a crime, no staying on the people's dime. I ain't trying to rap here. I'm trying to make a point. Right? So it's clear that the forces are kind of aligned to assist migrants in becoming members of our society. And I'm not going to judge the good or bad of that today. But what I am going to say is we still need ones who are going to abide by the law. Because I can tell you right now, unless you want a more violent society and a more violent police department, we can't allow violent criminals to stay in our country who came here illegally.
I'm not satisfied with that at all. These are law enforcement officers who should never, under any circumstances, be subjected to physical assault. It's wrong on all accounts. And, I'm looking to judges and prosecutors to do the right thing.
So, Governor Hochul, what are you going to do to effectuate the change that you would like to see? Right? I mean, it's okay. I, as a citizen, can look for judges and officials to do the right thing. I'm not the governor. So you just literally said you could do no more than I can do. But you can. So don't sit around and talk about what you would like to see, what could have happened. You need to push to get the framework in place that doesn't allow this. So we're going to talk about this next, because you've earmarked, I think Governor Hochul earmarked $2.4 billion for this migrant fiasco in her 2025 budget. And I think those should come with some stipulation that people who commit crime not participate in this system. Okay? No. Because they're committing crime, they already have an income source. If you're not going to deport them, deport them. If you're not going to deport them, don't feed and clothe them and give them a place to stay. That's stupid.
Assault 2, this was a bail eligible offense. And why bail wasn't asked for, we don't have an answer for that. But the judge also had an opportunity here to step in and remand them to Rikers Island pending indictment. And now these four are somewhere in this country in a bus trying to leave this country. So the whole system needs to be looked at.
And you know, ever since they started bail,
The Manhattan District Attorney this week saying violence against police officers is never acceptable. It is paramount that we conclusively identify each defendant and specify each participant's role in the incident. Every defendant charged so far is facing felony charges that carry a penalty of up to 7 years. And the DA's office says it needed time to thoroughly look at each defendant's role in all this. These accused attackers, of course, are at risk of deportation, something the mayor's office says they will support if they are convicted, also saying the city will work with federal immigration on this matter.
All right, so first I want to thank ABC 7 New York for at least covering the news cycle, okay? But it's time that we begin to hold these people to account for what they're saying. If this, if that, we must do this, we must do that. The first thing we must do is ensure the safety of our own citizenry. There's no greater thing that you can do. So if you want to take my money and spend it on people who weren't supposed to be here, then you better be doing that in a way that makes our society better. And these are the questions. And I don't want to hear diversity is our strength and any of that other, nonsense that people are talking. I'm not saying send them back because they are black, brown, yellow. There are all kinds of people coming through the border. Africans, Haitians, Latinos, white people, Chinese people, all kinds of people come through this border. That's not the point. I'm not even on that point. I'm on the point that we first have to make sure that our own people are safe. If you threaten the safety of our people, I don't need to know what your role was in it. Oh, he only kicked him one time in the back of the head. He simply tried to grab the police officer to keep him off. He didn't actually throw a punch. Listen, Alvin Bragg, that's stupid, okay? They were involved in gang activity that attacked 2 police officers. They were part of that activity, and for that, they should still be rated in Rikers Island. Okay, so we got to do better, people. We've got to do better. And I'm happy that this is happening in so-called Black History Month, so black people can really see what they think about you. We'll continue to cover migrant crime because it seems to be a very intricate part of almost the crime in every state. Some of it is organized, and we need to better understand how this is affecting our own safety. All right, listen, but as always, I love to know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this. Should they be able to stay even if they beat up police officers? Should the people of New York be paying for criminals to have a place to stay and food to eat? Let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you. Thank you.